or complaints about Janelle, or complaints about Kody or Robyn. I get it. I have had complaints about every single one of them.
Robyn on camera. I am so tired of people saying that we use this family. We lost everything. How dare they try to call us grifters? She slams her hand on the table. Kody bursts in, face red, yelling, "You have no idea what we've been through. We built this family. We carried them, and now they're going to try to act like we took something from them? No, I won't sit here and be lied about." Robyn's eyes well up. Robyn, they're just jealous. They're rewriting history. They're trying to destroy us. Kody leans forward, his tone dark. Kody, they're not victims. They left us, and now we're the villains? The room goes silent, but what Kody says next shocks even Robyn. Kody, quiet, almost whispering. Maybe the show should have ended when the loyalty ended. Robyn looks at him, confused. Even she didn't see that coming. Cut. Silence. Narrator. Calm. Cutting through the tension. This right here is the moment everything just clicked. Not the divorces, not the COVID protocols, not the broken promises. Regarding Coyote Pass, no, this was deeper. This was the day Kody and Robyn finally said the quiet part loud. They think they are the victims, and everyone else, just ungrateful. But let's be real. For years, fans had a question they were too afraid to say out loud. Was this family built on love? Or built on profit? Because the cash didn't disappear. The loyalty did. And when the loyalty died, so too did the fantasy that Kody and Robyn were just trying to keep the family afloat. Now? Their own kids, their ex-wives, even the fans, are calling it what it looks like. Not unification, not leadership. Grifting, taking heartbreak as currency, taking loyalty as leverage, taking pain for profit. And when the family finally called them out, Kody and Robyn didn't apologize. They didn't reflect. They didn't even deny. They erupted. Why? Because at their core, they know something horrifying. The receipts are real. Let's dissect. For more than a decade, Kody preached family first. But behind the cameras, he signed contracts. Without informing the wives, he gave Robyn a legal marriage and the monetary authority that went. Along with it, he began moving money, altering wills, ensuring one home was secured, while the others were unaware. And here's the thing that flips everything. The money trail doesn't lie. When you follow the money, you learn the truth, for love is a deception, can be manufactured. But bank statements? Never. So how did the big happy family become a one-way pipeline pouring all of it into Kody and Robyn? Let's go back to the beginning. Prior to the tears, prior to the lawsuits, prior to the kids speaking out, prior to the grief tour scheme, back when the Brown family was intact. At least on TV, because the first indications of manipulation, they were always there. They were just masked in faith and sacrifice and God's plan. But hiding behind every spiritual speech was a game of money, and the other wives didn't realize it until it was too late. In part 2, we revisit the first strategic move that shook everything, the lie that constructed the empire, the promise that enticed the wives, and the moment Kody and Robyn began their sly takeover. Long before anyone realized. Before the screaming, before the accusations, before the term grifting was ever uttered in the Brown household, there was a promise. A beautiful, shiny, spiritual promise. We will create something great together. A family. A legacy. A kingdom in unity. And the wives believed it. Because at that time, Kody was not the man you know today. He was charming. He was spiritual. He talked of destiny as if he could see the future. He didn't say, "Follow me." He said, "We'll rise together." And that one word, together, is where it all began. The early days. The trust was real at first. There were no contracts, no lawyers, no TLC deals, only faith. And Kody's voice. He did not start with rules. He started with dreams. He made each wife special, respected, secure. He called them his partners. He promised them their sacrifices would be temporary. He told them their children would inherit something bigger than money, a legacy, and they believed him. Because why wouldn't they? He was their husband. He was their spiritual leader. He was the one who said God was leading him. But here's what they didn't see. Even from the start, Kody was taking mental notes. Who is loyal? Who will question me? Who will obey no matter? This wasn't a marriage. It was a test, and only one woman was going to pass. Enter Robyn, the game changer. When Robyn arrived on the scene, all changed. Initially, she played her part to perfection. The sweet new wife, the peacemaker, the one who loves all the sister wives and just wants unity. But behind the sweetness, she was dissecting the system, and she saw something the others did not. Kody didn't want equality. He wanted control. And control stems from one thing: access. Access to decisions. Access to influence. Access to commitments. Access to money. The secret conversations begin late night, drives closed-door talks, private texts that the other wives would never see. This was no longer plural, marriage. This was strategy. Kody. And Robyn started lining up. Few words like, "Why don't the other wives get you, Kody? It's so hard being the only one who really supports you. They just don't see the vision like we do." We. Not the family. Not everyone. We. The word was the crossing point. That was the moment the partnership became soul. And guess what? Right after that, the most crucial legal move in Brown family history took place. The legal marriage. The master move for years, Kody was spiritually married to Mary, Janelle, and Christine. But then, he legally wed Robyn. They said it was to adopt her kids. They said it was for protection. But let's see what that really meant. Robyn was made the only legal wife. She attained spousal rights. She could sign financial documents in Kody's name. She became the primary decision-maker over all properties. She had access to everything. And just like that, the family power dynamic flipped. One wife had the law on her side. The others had faith, and faith isn't enough in court. The other wives didn't know it at first. They were still producing, still moving houses, still having babies. They didn't think anything was different, but everything was different. Because while they were juggling babies and calendars, Robyn was juggling Kody, and Kody was juggling finances. Bank accounts quietly changed. Properties shifted for tax reasons. Production deals were renegotiated without the other wives' signatures. And then came the scariest part. Kody stopped asking for input and started informing them of decisions. We're doing the show. We're moving to Vegas. We're buying Coyote Pass. We're restructuring the family. Finances, no more voting, no more equality, no more we, just him. And her. The other wives started to wake up. Christine felt it first. Then Janelle. Mary knew it the longest, but stayed silent out of guilt. Something was wrong. Something was shifting. The family they built together was becoming a business, and who was leading? Not the family, just the executives, Kody and Robyn. And here's the tough reality. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't chaos. This was strategy. The first play wasn't the divorce. It wasn't COVID procedures. It wasn't favoritism even. The first play was when Kody learned something powerful. People who love you will do anything. People who trust you will sign anything. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It didn't happen in a fight. It happened in a contract. One easy choice. Let's put our pain on television. And that's when the Brown family stopped being a family. They became a product. The TLC deal. The engine of the machine at first. The wives thought the show would tell their story. Their struggles. Their faith. Their love. They thought it was about representation, but it wasn't. It was about ratings, and ratings don't result from harmony. They result from conflict, and Kody, he learned that quickly. The producers whisper. Fans love when the wives fight. Give us more tension. Let's delve deeper into jealousy. Kody struggled at first, then he got it. Drama, check. Money, fights, checked. Viewers. Tears, checked. Renewals, broken. Heart's a prophet. And who controlled the drama? Not the wives, not the children. Kody. Kody learns the power of editing something shifted one day. There was the one time that Kody was absolutely wrong. He was heartless, callous, self-centered. But when the episode was televised, the scene was cut, not toned. Down, cut. Someone shielded him, someone manipulated the narrative in his favor. And when Kody learned that the show might portray him in a good light, or portray the wives as crazy, that's when Grifter Kody became a thing. Emotional abuse. But make it television. He started producing scenes, probing wives just before rolling cameras, withholding affection, stirring up jealousy. On purpose. Because if the wives were unstable, he was the victim, the responsible one, the calm one, the hero. Manipulation. In HD Enter, Robyn, the perfect co-star Robyn, was more than a wife. She was an actress, a strategist, a producer's ideal. She knew when to cry, when to look fragile, when to bring out the misunderstood outsider. She mastered the character of the one good wife who loves Kody, and the show paid her back more screen, time, more sympathy, more power, and slowly but surely, Kody and Robyn were the lead characters. The rest? Background noise, follow the money as. Christine was raising children, as Janelle was paying bills, as Mary was being emotionally abandoned. Kody and Robyn were making deals. New contracts, pay increases, appearance fees, book deals, brand protection, and who was always in the room for the deals? Not the family, just the executive couple, Robyn and Kody. And guess what? The money no longer went into 4 equal households. It went into one. Theirs. The wives started realizing the truth. Why are we in the red if the show is so successful? Why is our property untended? Why is Robyn in a mansion and we're leasing? Where is the money? Kody always had an answer. It's complicated. It's for taxes. We'll get it together as a family. But the family never saw the books, never saw the agreements, never saw the checks. They trusted him, and he used that trust to build an empire on their backs. The show was no longer for plural marriage. It was for control. Kody used the camera like a hammer. Want attention? Film want approval? Agree with him. Want peace? Shut up. Want love? Be faithful. To him, he created a structure where every emotion, every confession, every meltdown was monetized. Their trauma was his business model. And then, the worst of it, when the wives were broken, when the children were crying, when the family was imploding, Kody fixed none of it. He benefited from them. Let's video this. This will be a good plot. Pain wasn't something to be overcome. Pain was something to sail, and who benefited? Not the wives, not the children. Kody and Robyn, the loyal couple. The final marriage standing, the sole successful relationship. The script was written, everyone else failed. While they struggled for love, let that really sink in, they created the devastation. Then capitalized on faking to survive. That isn't a love story. That's a scam, but here's the kicker. For years, Kody and Robyn thought no one was paying attention. They thought they were better than that, but the family witnessed, the children took notes, the fans connected the dots, and when the truth finally came out, it wouldn't just expose the show. It would expose the entire financial structure they built, and how Kody and Robyn used emotional manipulation as a business. For years, Robyn and Kody thought they were invincible. They had the legal marriage. They had the crew on their side. They had the edit. They had the money flow. But what they didn't realize, the people they underestimated the most would be the ones to take them down. Not TLC, not fans, not tabloids. Their own children. The kids were silent. But not blind growing up on camera. The Brown children saw everything. They watched their moms cry off camera. They witnessed their dad disappear into Robyn's house. They witnessed decisions being made without a group consensus. They witnessed favoritism turn to neglect. And then they grew up and they started to talk. Not in anger, but in truth. Honest, raw truth. And that frightened Kody more than any tabloid ever could. Gabriel's breaking point, when Kody wouldn't go see his own son on his birthday because of COVID rules. Gabe cried on camera, not just cried. He broke. He looked into the camera and said the words that cut through millions of hearts. He forgot my birthday. That wasn't a mistake. That was proof. Proof that Kody's safety protocols were never about health. They were about allegiance. If you complied with him, you got love. If you challenged him, you got shut off. And for the first time, the viewers didn't just feel sorry, they got angry GW. She said what everyone was thinking. Dad only cares about Robyn. He treats us like we're less. He plays the victim while hurting everyone. Robyn manipulates him, and he lets her. And then the nuclear line. They're using the show for sympathy and money. There it was, out loud on record. Their own daughter just confirmed it. Grifting. The wives start connecting the dots. Christine was the first to walk. But she wasn't the only one waking up. Janelle realized she had been paying in for years, but owned nothing. Mary realized she had been blackmailed emotionally, while her loyalty was being used as a prop. They started comparing stories, comparing bank accounts, comparing lies, and suddenly, the wives who had once been divided started to unite, not as sister wives, as survivors. The secret dealt, then they found it. A contract, a financial requirement, a production agreement, where Kody and Robyn were listed as primary beneficiaries, not the family, not the wives, just them. They were getting a higher percentage. They had control over content. Creatively, they had veto power. They owned the pain. They controlled the narrative. They owned the money. The other wives? Just talent. And then came the biggest betrayal of all Coyote Pass. The family dreamland, the future home base, the symbol of unity. But behind the scenes, Kody and Robyn were plotting to take full ownership, not share, not split, not follow the original plan, own it all. And when Janelle found out, everything changed. Because she wasn't just emotionally invested, she invested money, her money. And now Kody was trying to cut her out of the same land she'd paid for? That wasn't just betrayal. That was war. The show became a weapon against him. The wives didn't have the legal power. They didn't have the financial records. They didn't even have access to the accounts. But they had one thing Kody never expected. The camera. They started using the show to tell the truth, not the edited version, not the polished version, the real version. Christine said, "I was last place." Janelle said, "He's different now." Mary said, "He dropped me years ago." The kid said, "He abandoned us." Suddenly, the hero dad image shattered. Viewers saw it, networks saw it, advertisers saw it. Kody wasn't a misunderstood father. He was the problem. The public turned on him for the first time. The tide turned, fan pages flipped, comment sections exploded, people demanded accountability. Why is Robyn crying in a mansion? Why is Christine raising 6 kids by herself? Why is Janelle broke after a decade of filming? Why are they still doing this show? Kody felt the walls closing in. His control was slipping. His narrative was collapsing. His family was rebelling. And instead of humility, he doubled down. Kody's response? He blamed the wives. He blamed the kids. He blamed the internet. He blamed betrayal. He said they grifted him. Let that sink in. The man who took their loyalty, their time, their money, their pain, and marketed it to the world. Now pretended he was the victim. That's not denial. That's delusion. And then, the final blow. The wives were finished. The kids were finished. The fans were finished. But one last bomb was left to drop. A financial revelation, a legal document, a quiet betrayal. That would demonstrate once and for all. Kody and Robyn weren't just emotionally abusive. They were making money off of everyone else's suffering, while scheming to leave them with nothing. The courtroom was silent. No cameras, no producers, no editing, only truth. Raw and undeniable. Kody sat stiff, arms crossed, jaw set in anger. Robyn clutched her purse like a shield, opposite them. the wives and children they once referred to as family. But this wasn't a family reunion. This was an accounting. Because today, the question wasn't what went wrong. It was much more challenging. Did Kody and Robyn deliberately use this family for their own personal gain? The judge sorted through financial records, bank transfers, title to property, legal documents, all signed. By Kody and Robyn, Kody shifted uncomfortably in his chair. For the first time, he appeared small. Then the bombshell was dropped. Documents showed that while the family was breaking apart, while the children were wailing for attention, while the wives were sacrificing just to survive, Kody and Robyn secretly moved assets into private accounts. Janelle gasped. Christine whispered, "I knew it." Even Mary appeared shocked. This wasn't miscommunication. This wasn't favoritism. This was deliberate. The judge glared straight at Kody. "You told me it was one family, but in law, in finance, you only treated one household as if it were real." Kody's mouth fell to defend his argument, but there was nothing to say. For once, the king of control had no response. And then it arrived. The moment it was all really over. The judge stamped the final order. Coyote Pass would be divided. Back pay would be determined. Financial disclosure would be requested. That is, of course, the truth could no longer be concealed. Kody's face turned red. Robyn started to cry, but no one comforted them. Not this time. Because the family saw it clearly at last. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about faith. It was about power. And Kody and Robyn would burn everything to keep it. They stood to leave the courtroom. No one followed behind them. No one begged them to stay. No one called them mom or dad. The kingdom they'd held for 15 years collapsed with one devastating silence. Kody stood at the door, looked back at the folks he used to command, and saw the ugliest truth of all. When control was gone, so was his kingdom. He didn't just lose wives. He didn't just lose respect. He lost the narrative, and without the narrative. Kody Brown is just a guy without fans, but this book isn't finished, because there's one more twist. The family isn't just free. They're rebuilding. They're speaking out. They're exposing everything. And guess what? The world is listening, because when you build an empire upon agony, that agony will one day reverberate through your lies.